Want to find out what's going on in your community? El Observador is San Jose's bilingual weekly newspaper. Go to your local newsstand and pick up your free copy today. Looking for the skills and training you need to get a new career? Call CTC, the Center for Training and Careers, and start working towards that new career today. Call CTC in San Jose.
Good evening. I'm Cihuapilli Rose Amador, and this is Native Voice TV. Welcome to the show. Today I'm honored to introduce Hank Swiftcloud Le Beau. Welcome, Hank. And Hank is a leader in our community. He's a father, a grandfather, a life historian of the history of Native Americans in Silicon Valley here. Just so many titles and well-respected. But more importantly of all, he's family. So that makes him really important to me. Welcome, Hank. You have quite a history. You came here on relocation, but you started out where?
I started out in a reservation called the Cheyenne River Sioux Indian Reservation in central South Dakota. Born in 1941, which was, I was a post-World War II child growing up, and then off the reservation, my mother moved in 1947 to the Black Hills Army Depot. So I was raised on federal ground, whether it was Indian or Army. Mm-hmm. And while there, that's where I had my formal years in education, elementary and high school. And
what was that experience like?
It was quite an experience. When I was a young kid, I guess I had short man's disease. I was 5'8.5", and I always wanted to be 6'2", like my buddies. And but I learned to play sports well and be quick and fast and learn to do things like that. And so sports really helped me in my young life academically, because it kept me straight in school. And after graduation, I didn't make the Air Force, so I signed up for the relocation program at the time to come out to California. Go west, young man. And I think I heard that cliche through the years. So
Did you have a choice of places to go?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to go to Denver, of course, Chicago at first, but they weren't taking them as fast. The only place that was really taking them within a month was a place called San Jose, California. And I didn't know where this was. I heard of San Francisco and Los Angeles, but I didn't know where the heck San Jose was. Of course, San Jose at that time was only about 250,000 at the time. Mm-hmm. And since then it has grown immensely. So,
okay, before you came out here, you played basketball?
Yeah, I played basketball and I ran track and I played football. Of course, I don't have front teeth because of football. But
you were active in sports. I know we have some pictures of you that I want to show the audience. There's a couple here. One, you look like James Dean, and this is from high school?
Yeah, that's my graduation picture in 1961.
Very nice. I like the hairdo. That must have taken a lot of work.
Yeah, it did, a lot of hairspray.
And the other one, you look just like James Dean, or you look like you should be on an album cover.
We got a lot of influence from South Philadelphia with Dick Clark. And he used to show all these people like Frankie Avalon and Fabian and Bobby Rydell. So we always, although we were Indian on the little remote areas, we also wanted to stay up with times. So we too wanted to be just like the average American. And,
right.
So that's why those pictures are taken like that.
Well, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I go back and I have a big chuckle. I mean, it's been many years. In fact, my high school reunion was last year, 50 years.
Oh.
And I got a picture on email from a couple of them, and I don't even recognize them anymore.
You didn't go?
No, I was probably one of the few that didn't. Out of the 22 of us that graduated. Wow. They're all, most of them were all Caucasian. And of course, Caucasian guys, what they lose first is their hair, and so half of them are all bald-headed, and I didn't recognize them. They all look alike. They look like landed on the moon and seen a bunch of moon men up there with bald heads. But and they're probably laughing at me too if they see my picture. But it's kind of funny how we all changed. You know.
And then you picked San Jose.
Yeah, I picked San Jose, and I didn't know a soul in California. I come to California, of course. I read all about the beaches and all the good stuff you want to hear about. So I picked San Jose, and it was quite an experience. I was very lonely, I didn't know a soul out here, but I seen a lot of brown-skinned people out here, you know. And I used to go to the theaters here, and you know where I come from, one horse town, South Dakota, where you're just lucky to have a 15-seat theater there, you know. But out here we had the theaters like the Crest and the Jose and the Padre and the Studio, all these theaters on First Street.
Okay, San Jose was booming then, right? Downtown.
Yeah,
They had a downtown at the time?
Yeah, Post Street, they had the downtown gym, Babe Griffin, you know, and I was into boxing sports, so I'd go down there on Saturday afternoons and watch them work out. And it was, I was in seventh heaven, you know. I'd never seen so much activity in my life. And the cruisers were going up and down First and Second Street at night, and I was just so in awe and just sit there on the bus bench and just watch them. And it was quite fascinating to me, coming from South Dakota and not exposed to that type of life.
So did you go through job training? Did you get a job when you first came out, or what did you do?
Well, I signed up for direct employment, DE they called it, and where they try to get you a job. Of course, a guy with no work experience, just out of high school. So I got a job in Newark, California in a brick plant, and I worked as a laborer, and I learned to work real hard, and you know, worked there for a period, and went on to other jobs thereupon after that. So it was, but I was working in the labor field, whether it was construction or different other industries or civil industries I worked for around this area.
Oh, okay. And then how did you connect to other Native people?
Well, unfortunately, through the Indian bar. I mean, because that's where all the relocatees gravitated to, the different Indian bars that most of the relocatees socially felt compelled that that's where they had to meet over a few suds, and unfortunately, it was kind of a negative strain and element in my life that thereupon I had some problems after that with the chemical alcohol, and you know, we all have to go through things in life, and with whether it's whatever it is. But I feel the Creator puts things in your life to learn from, you know, and certainly that chemical was put in my life to really see the ups and downs and the other side of life that I never knew. And of course, on the reservations, there was swarming with alcoholism, you know, and it affected me as well out here while being a participant in the program out here. So I had a problem for a few years with booze, and spiritually finding myself and lifting myself up, and tried to enhance myself in some capacity by going to vocational school and then going to higher education, the local colleges, like everybody else, I guess, City College and then San Jose State. And then I did go to seminary in Vancouver School later on in years, at seminary at the UBC, the University of British Columbia, and I got a master's degree, and thereafter I was ordained as a priest. So I'm also a priest, an ordained priest, and I still work with helping addict alcoholics as well, finding the spirit, trying to find their direction.
And you're a priest at St. Philip's Church?
Yeah, we say, you know, we celebrate. I used to do it every weekend for the last 9 years, and this year I told my wife Sherry that I'm going to cut down a little bit, cut it in half, and do things a little more as go on sabbatical. I guess that seems to be an overused word, you know. So partial sabbatical for a while, and because you get a little tired, and it's quite, there's a little work and investment in doing that every weekend.
Sure.
But I like I'm an artist, I would say. I like to draw pictures, and if you like the picture, use it. But you have a choice in the matter, and I always felt like as human beings, we have choices.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of us made unhealthy choices, but we learn from those. We learn. That's why we're doing the things we do now that we deem positive. So.
Let's take a look at some more pictures that we have, and maybe you can tell me. This is you at a very young age.
Yeah, my mother is pictured there with my oldest children.
And how old was your mother there? What is her name? What was her name?
Emily Swiftcloud.
Emily Swiftcloud.
Hotchkiss.
Oh, okay.
My mother and I was raised almost an only child. Unfortunately, when I was born, the church on my reservation, the priest didn't want to baptize me because I was born out of wedlock. Mm-hmm. So because I had the name Swiftcloud, which was her maiden name, and so the reservation, Cheyenne River, on that district, they didn't want to support the church. So they boycotted because they felt like I was just a baby and I had no idea of making heaven and all this, so I didn't know. So, but the history goes that the church's priest had to relocate and get another position. So I kind of felt bad about that I made a priest leave, but that's the way it was, and I accept that. But the church didn't want me. I always felt like that growing up, so I used this as good ammunition not to go to church with my mother, but she still drugged me anyway. So.
And did she live out here for a while?
Yeah, she used to come and stay with us through my tenure out here. That she lived with us. In fact, she died out here in 1998.
And she spoke the language.
Oh yeah, she spoke the language and she knew the stories. But her thing in that generation always tried to tell us, be the best you can be. It's a white man's world, son. Go out and get an education and try to beat the Washichu. That's American white in our language. And be the best you can be and try to beat them at their own game. And so consequently, I went to school and went to church and just tried be the best I could be. So.
Wow. And you've been involved in the community for a long time, very active.
Oh yeah, I've always I had problems with booze, like I mentioned, and I quit drinking July 2nd, 1971 after about a 10-plus year bout with the consumption of too much booze. So admitting that, relenting that I was alcoholic, and facing the reality and try to do something about it to help myself as well as help my people. From that time on, I made a commitment to try to help people help themselves, and with the problem, even to this day, the problem still exists. Urban, rural, reservation, we have an extreme problem, a severity of the problem with booze and other drugs. Nowadays, there's all these synthetics and from glue sniffers to whatever. It's pretty bad. Booze is still the primal chemical we deal with because it's condoned biblically and it's condoned socially and it's condoned throughout the world. So it's quite an uphill struggle. Okay.
Yeah. Let's take a look at a couple more of the pictures. This is, I guess, from one of the community events. It looks like probably at St. Philip's Church or someplace, huh?
Yeah, my wife and I, Sherry, we started doing a lot of work with St. Philip's.
Now you put on a Thanksgiving dinner, you put on a Christmas party, and the two of you just put on a lot of activities and for many years, huh?
20 plus years since 1991. I guess we've been involved, and we give a lot of time and effort.
I think they're all coming up to shake your hand there in this picture at one of the events.
Halloween, and other times we had different. And
Now, you've been very active in sports over the years, and so Billy wanted to put on this run dedicated to you, the Hank Le Beau Invitational. So this was last year, and it was at the park, Hellier Park. So let's show a few of these pictures, then we'll talk a little bit about the sports you've been involved in. This was, I think, the ribbon that all the participants got. There was a nice crowd that came out for that event.
yeah, I was quite impressed. I was really.
There's Sherry and Renee in the background there. I think Sherry won a ribbon that time.
Yeah, yeah, she took first in
There
her
we are.
70 plus division, whatever.
Looks like a lot of sun there. And there's the winner. No, I think they just gave you your numbers. Reenacting coming through the finish line.
Yeah, that's for the camera. Yeah, Sherry and I, we've been involved throughout the years as a lot of people would say activity activists. I guess we've volunteered and to help generally people, human beings, help themselves, like I mentioned, and we've been involved in many fun spiritual runs through the years.
You both ran, huh?
Yeah, we were involved in the 500 spiritual run since its inception in 1980, 1979. I remember in the early years, and we were always people in the background helping our people. Our own family was involved, and we had them running. To this day, they're all grown up, and they tell these stories about running through Delano and running through Chowchilla and sleeping along the highway, and the funny things that happened to them. And we have an immensity of stories that I don't know, they never did say, "Oh, we love you guys for it," but they just laughed at it. I mean,
It was a good experience.
yeah,
And healthy, of course.
Yeah, poor things. They were just drugged through it with us, and they, you know, we felt it gave them a clear understanding politically and racially and spiritually of who we were, and to try to help people. And that's what we're put on this earth is there's givers and takers. And my grandfather always said, be a giver. That's why we're here as Huwojo, as two legs to help creation, you know. And he always said he was a member of the Huwojo tribe, which means two legs, and the two-legged helped the four-legged, and et cetera, all the way down the line, all the other creator's creation. So, and so you never have this understanding until you really commit yourself to walk that good road, you know, and to help people walk it too as well. It's not about material wealth. It's about spiritual wealth, and that's the way I've kind of taken it since I walked this road. And whether it's the Bible or whether it's the Quran or the pipe or the eagle feather, they all have that sacred meaning, and they all mean right. It's your heart that justifies who you are and your remarkability as a spiritual being.
Do you think the Native youth have a more difficult time adjusting now? Obviously, they are probably born and raised here, but staying in touch with their Native identity, or how do you see that whole scenario?
I think if they were like me, they were totally unaware, you know, and they kind of go along with the grown-ups. So I think it's our duty as grown-ups to really teach them, because we're the ones with the knowledge, and we should share that. And now to push them into it, it's another story. I mean, you don't want to do that. You want them to choose that you like that traditional way or parts of it, but I seen too many people say do this and do that, and because a lot of children resent that later on when they grow up.
They feel like they were forced into it.
When you're forced to do something. And we have that from the old boarding schools about they were forced to go to church. So to this day, certain generations of our Native people really they just totally withdrawn from a lot of functioning religions. So.
And some people do both, huh?
Yeah, I've heard Native old grandfathers speak, and to rise above that and accept. Both, and because it's all about God, the creator, a maker of everything that is, and how you see it it's our personal journeys that's going to get you across to the other side. It's not a religion, organized religion. It's not a church. Well, the fellowship helps you to be a good human being, but there's no guarantees. So it's the spirit, the spiritual aspect that connects. I've always been told religions divide and spirituality connects, so that told me a lot. This is in seminary now. This wasn't through the indigenous people. This is through seminarians that always had that. So to remind ourselves that no bona fide religion, whether it's Catholic or Presbyterian or Episcopalian, as I am, is gonna do it. You may put an immensity of money to appease you of your wrongs through the week or the month, but there's no guarantees. I mean, that's good thinking, but I think it'd just be a good human being to your fellow man and creation. That's where it's at.
Wow. Gee, there's so much more I wanted to ask you. I think we're almost out of time already. Again, years ago, I went on that Running Is My High, and then I learned later on that you had started that run.
Yeah, that started, I started that years ago when the great Kurt Flood was the athletic director of the Oakland Recreation Department. He was the head of it. And later on, a lot of you probably heard of his story through the documentary on HBO. But he's got quite a story, and just about that time when he was struggling is the time that I look back at our lives, and that's the time when I went in his office and met him, and I asked him if I could have a run. I didn't realize that he was struggling with his problems too as well, but he was just kind of coming out of it, and he was really nice. He just said, sure, I could do that. I thought he was going to charge us this huge fee at Oakland Parks and Rec. He said, no. He said, how many are you going to have? He said, if you have a lot, I'll have to charge you a lot. I said, no, well, he said, just say 50. I said, okay, go ahead, he said. So he was very accommodating. So we got Lake Merritt, the course, and we made our ribbons through the program I was with. We made leather ribbons, and that was our first Running Is My High to uplift our spirits. And at the same time, it's pretty good
really
physically.
Large, huh?
Yeah.
Thousands of people.
This year, and they had tents and everything else.
Goodness.
I was so impressed. I said, whoa. And of course, they drugged me up there to say a few words. And I'm over there going, hama, 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 hama.
Well, you're used to having a microphone in your
yeah.
hand. I always see you with a microphone.
So, but it was quite impressive, and it's still going. I think they had a quiet period for 1 or 2 years, and they didn't have it, but they brought it up. At first, it was to battle chemical addiction. That was the intent, to do something physical with your body, because we were all around these smoke-filled rooms doing the 12-step work at one time, if you remember, since the groups and meetings and smoky-filled rooms with a big coffee dispenser to drink, and everybody, but little did we know we were getting chemically addicted to other things, and so I felt, hey, why don't we do something with our body to feel good? Like the Sweat Lodge does its job, and why can't we get out there? And those of you that run or walk know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it gives you a lot of time to quietly be at peace with yourself, to pray.
And it's a great high.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Hank. I really appreciate it, and I think we need about 3 more hours to chapter so we could do your documentary on Native Voice TV. But thanks again for being here, and we'll bring you back, and we want to bring Sherry back, and we have a lot more stories to hear from you. And we'll get some more pictures.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Thank you for joining us. Like us on Facebook. Don't forget, we'll have pictures of the taping of the show. But tune in to our new time on Sunday nights, and we'll see you next week. We have some pictures to show you on the way out, so stay tuned. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.
Indigenous